today we're going to talk about unlocking your team's potential for high performance by finding their motivation and tapping into that energy as their manager. Because here's the thing, a manager's job is not just about making sure that the widgets are widgeting and the reports are reporting. A good manager's real responsibility is to either help their employees climb upward in their careers or to help them crush it in the role that they're in right now. Not everybody wants to move up the ladder, and that's okay. Some people want to be the CEO. Some people just want to be the best analyst this side of Excel. And it's the manager's job to help them shine in whatever their goal is. Hello, I'm Rebecca Wilson for Grab for the Grail. Come along with me as we tap into your team's hidden potential so you can stop micromanaging and start winning. Here's the mistake a lot of managers make. They assume that upward mobility is what everyone wants, and they focus intently on the idea that constantly managing up through some defined path is what everybody is aiming for. Like it's a science experiment with defined steps. Add this solution, create a high-performing team member. Spoiler alert, this is not it at all. When you push people into roles that they don't even want, it's like playing tug-of-war with their entire personality. Nobody wins. Performance tanks, motivation tanks, and you, as the manager, end up pulling your hair out wondering why this underperformer isn't hitting the mark. And when this happens, the whole team suffers for it. The first conversation you have is pivotal. When I get a new team member, the very first big conversation we have isn't about deadlines or systems or org charts. It's about them. This can work at any point, not just when they're new, but make sure that you have this conversation at some point. During this conversation, I'll ask questions like, do you want to lead? Do you want to manage people one day? Or do you just want to be the absolute best at what you're doing already? I might even go into, what's your dream job? What does that look like? What skills do you want to develop? Is there something else that you want to learn how to do? Where do you see yourself at the end of your career? And let me tell you, all the answers are perfectly valid. And these are the keys to unlocking your team's potential so you can leverage their motivation and take your team to the next level. Again, it's important to remember not everyone wants to manage people or even move upward. And honestly, sometimes the people who don't want to manage anyone are really the ones keeping the whole ship afloat. I mean, think about it. Do you really want your best technical experts spending half their time filling out performance reviews? Probably not. So let's dig into why motivation matters. Why should we even care about their motivation? Because motivated employees don't just clock in. They care, they bring their passion, they feel heard. And when people feel their work matters, they'll go above and beyond. Without that motivation, you get exactly what you paid for. Literally the bare minimum. Without motivation, you don't have a team. You have a group project where everyone's waiting for that one kid to do all the work. And unfortunately, you might end up being that one kid. So I shared a bit about the first conversation, but let's dive in a bit deeper. I'll also share a few examples. So after this first conversation, I can figure out how to align what the company needs with what they want. Because if I can get those two things to overlap, even just a little bit, that's really where the magic happens. This also gives me a chance to start building that trust. I do spend time telling them who I am and what they can expect from my management style, but we can approach that part of the conversation in another video. I want to share a couple examples of how this type of conversation might go in actions that you can take to channel your team's motivation. So I'll start with, I once had an employee who never held a corporate job. This was her very first. She wanted to move up within the organization and wanted to develop the skills that would move her in that upward trajectory. So we started with one of the most fundamental skills of a leader, facilitation. Now, most people are terrified of running a meeting, but facilitation is like a leadership training ground. It forces you to organize content, manage time, and command a room. So I gave her the chance to run our all-hands meeting. She built the agenda, created the slides, coordinated with stakeholders, managed the time, tailored a message, and led the meeting. The difference? She went from being a quiet beginner to someone who could command a room with authority, and she loved it. Another example I had, there was another team member. She had never run a project before, not from scratch at least. She'd always just followed someone else's playbook. So I gave her a high-profile project, and this one had to be built from the ground up because it really had never been done before. And I told her, "You're leading this." I built the preliminary framework, and I coached her behind the scenes, and I let her take charge in front of the stakeholders. I also coupled her with a more experienced team member to bounce ideas off of in case she needed assistance and maybe I wasn't available. Was she nervous? Absolutely. But through regular feedback and coaching, she learned how to gather requirements, build a plan, and execute it. Today, she's not just confident, she's thriving. In my third example, I had another team member who always stayed in the background, took notes, wrote meeting minutes, zero confidence, really just passed it off to other people to lead. So I pushed her forward, had her facilitate meetings, lead discussions, and handle projects directly. I stayed in the background, acting as kind of a safety net, again, assigning her another team member to learn from, but she was the one steering. Fast forward a bit, and senior leadership is complementing her ability to lead and drive projects. That's how you invest in people's confidence and drive their motivation. The real takeaway here is none of these folks would have grown if I just saw them as seat fillers cranking out tasks, but actually listening to what they wanted, matching them with the right opportunities. I ended up with stronger performance, happier employees, and a bonus. People who still check in with me years later. Why? Because they know when we talk, it's real, it's honest, and it's about helping them succeed. It's not about hitting some corporate checkbox. Being a manager isn't about forcing your goals onto your team. It's about aligning their goals with the company's needs. It's about trust, motivation, and giving people room to grow, or room to just master what they already love. If you're a manager, take the time to ask those questions. Build that trust. Share your experiences. And most importantly, don't try to turn every analyst into a future VP. Some people are already exactly where they want to be. Respect that, and you'll unlock performance you didn't even know was possible. You'll discover that if you care about their goals, then suddenly your team cares about yours. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, drop a comment about how you motivate your team, and also don't forget to subscribe for more real-world management stories and tips. I'll see you in the next one.